In this video, we're going to show you how to use Pluto. A few notes: your file must be in XLSX format, cannot be open in compatibility mode, and sometimes merge cells can throw it off. Functions 1 through 4 only work if each month of data is on its own tab. Won't work any other way. Functions 5 plus can be used on all sets of data. If the sheets that Pluto steps 1 through 4 create are there, and the data is in the format that Pluto needs. So if you have those as a shell, you can essentially put any data into that shell and use Pluto to generate your balance sheet, income statement, EBITDA, working cap tables, as well as subschedules. So yeah, we're going to get into an example. This is where we are putting together a data book using steps 1 through 4 and 5 plus. It's pretty quick. It's 9 minutes, so I'll try to catch everything on it, but I may miss a few things, so advanced features will not be discussed. So here we go. We're going to open the data book. It's got every month of data included in one book. There's a Pluto tool to do this. It's pretty easy. You just open all the files and click add to one book. So I've already done that here, and we're gonna put it all into one master TB tab. If your files have debits and credits, you need to have a debit minus credit column, so you have negative and positive values, debit and credit. I deleted the top 5 rows here. I don't know if that's necessary or not. It makes it easier. So the first function is remove duplicates, or the first function is putting together all the account numbers into one tab. So you'll pull in all the account numbers and names in column A to one sheet, and then Pluto removes the duplicate values in there to give you one set of accounts for all periods. No missing accounts. It'll capture accounts added or removed during the historical period. So that A and B are the duplicative values. Column C is the account duplicate removed column, and that's what will be pulled into your master TBZ tab. What we're working on here, all account Z, that's created by this first step. What I'm doing here is removing a couple subtotal accounts, make sure it's clean. Here you have account number and account name in the same column, so you can run a text to columns to get those separated and have them in their own columns. So the next step is the create master. It basically pulls in column C to a new tab labeled account master. Gives you the options to map it in a bunch of different columns, and puts together the grid for your monthly trial balance that you would see in a data book. It also creates info Z, where you plug in the correct periods. That's where the labels come from on your QV, working capital, balance sheet, income statement. So there we go, that's master TBZ. As I mentioned previously, you can use Pluto if you just bring any data into this tab and format it correctly. Columns J, K, and L, the totals, you need to do those formulas manually. So here we're looking at inserting the lookup, the sum ifs, which will pull in from every sheet. It uses an indirect formula and just does a sum if. That's if account number, lookup value, or if account number sum, and it just pulls from every sheet with the indirect. So that's insert sum ifs. It creates those for you. If you're doing If you're working with data that's not in the same format as this, you won't really use that function. As I mentioned, this is very quick. It's tough to even talk through all of it. I can't record sound and video at the same time. So here I assigned each one a balance sheet and income statement value. I'm just putting in a formula into this column to sum the income statement or pull in balance sheet date values, because Pluto pulls this into the income statement, balance sheet, etc. So Pluto pulls the sheet names into those columns in row 12, January 13, February 13, March 13. If you don't have stuff in a monthly format, one tab for each month, it's going to pull in a sheet name. So if it's an entity, you'll see like the entity name pulled in. So that's why you could create a shell and keep it there. So add account mapping. This one pulls in the account name Z tab, and this is where you map it. You plug in the maps you need in column A. Column B populates itself. Column C and D, you classify each map to get it to show up properly. I already mapped this myself separately, so I'm just going to copy and paste the maps from my other data book, and I'm going to paste that into master TBZ on the far left hand side, account mappings. So that account mapping Z column has data validation. You can only add maps that are on the account name Z tab. That's why it may help to map it outside of the Pluto shell. I added a submap column in column B, but I don't know if that is a good idea. You may want to add an E, F, G, H, I, and J, where Pluto has the lookup value. So here we're going to build the QE, IS, BS. That's step 5. If you're working with the trial balance, you check all those accounts, and then you can add dollars and thousands. So here it creates KPI, EBITDA, income statement, balance sheet. You're going to want to check your balance sheet and income statement, make sure that they roll. Pluto does not pull in net income, so you'll have to do that manually to the balance sheet. Next up, you can run the sub details. That would be like table for cash map, table for AR, table for cost of sales, table for SG&A, and you can pull in anything you want into those subtables. I prefer to do it by account first, account name, so then you can see what is in each map. And within those subschedules, you could add a submap and then add that into a column in the first tab and rerun it again based on submaps. You can have something quickly that can go in the report that's not a million lines long. So here you just pull in the column that you need to run it against. So that would be the account name column, column C. When it asks you this, if you select the map column, it's going to show up with one line in the table for cash, 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 and you map it against itself, so you cannot do that. The first criteria for all these tables is a map. You cannot edit that. It's going to be a table based on maps, and then your second criteria is going to be variable based on this input here. So account number, account name, submap, and it gets them all together pretty quickly. You can also run an audit rec, you can run a seasonality detail. Those are some other good schedules. Anything beyond this, you're going to have to do yourself or pull in from the other master data books. But like I said, you can use this on anything as long as you have the first 4 tabs: info Z, all account Z, master TBZ, account name Z. Once you're there, you can use this on anything, and it's a pretty solid tool.